Indonesian teams are all outside of the top 15, but the best team from Indonesia will get invited anyways. But they have a chance here to make up some of the points that they had lost out in recent weeks. We are loading onto Gili Island and hopping out that plane for the start of our first match of 5 today. But, yeah, pretty critical for the Indonesian teams to pick up some extra points here.
Yep.
Realistic chances of qualification pretty much lie with WAFFF,
Okay.
possibly Baby Junior, who are currently sitting in 19th place, and Call Me, who are in 20th. Those are the 3 teams that got pegged for maybe having a chance here, but it's going to be really difficult because of who they're up against. The Thai teams, all of them currently qualified, and the Southeast Asian general teams have a handful qualified as well.
So there, like you mentioned earlier, today is the day for those Indonesian teams to pick up points because they got to play yesterday and they get to play again today. Before that, they were so far behind the rest of the competition. So, yeah, as we update this, we'll be able to let you guys know who are the teams to qualify in today's matches. I'm just reading through some of the squads that are in the bottom 15. Missing 5 teams here. What's going on? Looking at an Excel sheet, it's only 25 teams. Because there is only 25 teams. I'm an idiot.
Yeah, I was about to say, Fish, you okay, man? Are you all right?
Why is only 25 teams? Should be 30. Come on.
Wrong cup.
Yeah, why do
dude.
I keep getting the impression that there were more teams last split?
Yeah.
Don't know why.
So the bubble teams, the ones that are right on the edge of qualification, are the most interesting ones to me because they're really, really close right now. The team in 15th place is Gao team representing Vietnam, but because they're only about 20 points away from the next team, Fate, who's playing today, they're pretty much guaranteed to be locked out because, well, Fate gets 10 points just for loading in.
Yeah.
So each match. So unless they basically disconnect 5 games in a row and, well, they've already not.
They still are, like you said, if they as long as they load in, which they have, so they will tie with Gao team. Then it comes down to points. If they load in one more match, Gao team will be eliminated.
Yeah.
But there's a few other teams. I mean, Gao team's the only team that's not playing today that's at risk of really being eliminated.
Yeah. Well, and BDS have already been eliminated at 18th place currently, so they're out as well.
So there's a chance that I think Will Clubs are definitely in consideration to be eliminated today. Will Clubs are currently sitting at 9th place, but every team below them is playing except for Gao team. So they're up for elimination for sure. I think Fire Rose have the potential to be eliminated, but they're pretty high up. Fury Roads have the potential. We'll see how it goes.
It's about a difference of about 700 points, right? So some of these teams have the potential to make it happen. Most of the Thailand teams are actually the ones that are in those like 10th through 14th places, and also including AROV representing Malaysia. That's Southeast Asia General. Checking in with this game really quick, we have had a handful of scattered skirmishes, but nothing out of the ordinary for Southeast Asia. 1 or 2 fights on Rust Bay. And this is often what we see. There's usually a couple of teams that occupy Rust Bay, and sometimes they leave each other alone, sometimes they don't.
One other small thing as well is the teams are going to be Nara as well as War of Elite, I believe. The bottom 4 teams are pretty much guaranteed eliminated. So even down to War of Elite, who are 2,000 points, they're pretty much guaranteed to be eliminated based on performance. So based on the best performance that we've seen in the regional clash, which is NRX getting over 1,200 points on one best-of-5 map, that will only bump them up to 3,300, which probably is not going to cut it today. They'd be behind Will Clubs, which is a team that's already up for elimination today. You're only really looking at teams like Nara, who might be able to qualify, and then it goes up from there. So really looking to see who are going to be the teams that qualify today. And Pirate King have to be on their toes because although they're playing, they're sitting very close to the line. If they have 5 really poor games, Pirate King could very well and truly be eliminated.
Very true. Pirate King definitely have to watch themselves. So this is where it all matters. Obviously, your historical performance over the last several weeks, 5 weeks of these group stages of play, has kind of brought these teams to this point. But it's do or die. At the end of the day, we will finally find out the 15 teams that will go into our grand final next week, compete for the grand prize as well as world championship points. But only 15 teams out of the 25 can make it. A handful have already been eliminated, as you said. One representative from every region is guaranteed in. But more than that, I think especially if you're the Indonesian teams that are sitting outside the top 15 entirely, you don't want to make it in just because you were the best team in Indonesia. You want to break into that top 15 for regional pride, you know?
Mm-hmm. And it's just not good for the region in general. You don't really want to be in a region where you're only gifted an invitation. It's just, it feels bad. And, you know, most of these regions have been competitive. There's never been a case in history where we've actually had a region fall below the 15th place with their first place finisher. So probably not going to be the case. Probably still going to have you know, the number one team from Indonesia qualifying. They're the only ones that are really in question at the moment. I could say potentially AROV, but they seem like they're pretty set for qualification.
Yeah, I think that's probably the fair thing there. It's still possible they drop out, right? And this would really only be possible if Fate completely overtakes them and they also just get almost the minimum amount of points. There isn't a magic number specifically. I mean, there is. We don't know exactly what it is, but there's a point at which you're pretty much guaranteed that qualification. And over the next 4 or 5 games, we're going to start to see teams hitting that mark. For the teams that are pretty much all locked in, obviously, most of the Philippines, really only Will Clubs having a realistic chance of getting knocked out by any of the teams kind of on the bubble. So we should see, you know, at the very minimum, 3 of our Philippines teams making it through. And they've honestly earned it. They've been extremely strong throughout the course of this tournament, over the 7 weeks of play. NRX John 316 leading that pack, but they're not playing today. And I think also Vietnam, who were slumping compared to expectations, but the fact of the matter is 4 of their 5 teams are very safely in that top spot. Maybe Fire Rose could get knocked out. I think you could make the argument for Fury Rose too, since they're in the 7th and 8th place positions. But that's going to be a little bit of a stretch, I think. So when it comes down to it, there's only a handful of teams from these perceived stronger regions that are in danger of being knocked out. The Thai teams could have a very bad day. It's entirely possible that they drop down, but based on the way they play, I don't think that's going to happen. They don't seem to get eliminated very early on, especially not in a region like Southeast Asia that plays slower. They themselves don't tend to have a lot of trouble making those early and mid-game rotations. It's only towards the end of the game, and when some of these weaker teams have been eliminated, you just got to place yourself above them.
Let me try and find something quickly for the Southeast Asian teams, because I think there's still a very strong chance that the Pirate teams do get eliminated if they continue to have poor performances. I'm saying this in the sense that Pirate King and Pirate Team have both, on different days, had games where they finished with sub 300 points. That could put them at risk of elimination. It's a small risk, but that could put them at a risk. So, and these have been days again where they've been up against Vietnam, you know, the Philippines, all in the same group. Very heavy hitting competition. They fall down early. They should capitalize on the fact that in this group stage today, they're up against Indonesia and Southeast Asia in general, who are statistically the 2 weaker regions in the competition. If they can capitalize on picking up as many points as possible from today's matches, they should be fine. But there is that chance.
There is definitely the possibility.
You're right that it's very slim, though.
Yeah. I mean, anything can happen. Otherwise, why would we play it out, right? That's the big thing here.
BDS cannot qualify.
No, that's true. They're out. They're done. They can't play anymore. They can't get any more points, and they're outside the top 15. So they did.
They're not going to finish last though. Just because they're out doesn't mean they will finish last. They're actually.
Is it possible for Road to Victory to pass them?
No.
They need 1,485 points.
You are theoretically it is possible. You need 1,685 points to pass them. Theoretically,
you're right.
Theoretically, it's possible. But we've never seen the team score that high in the past. Not even NRX have done it. NRX have gone as high as 1,300. We have yet to see someone breach, you know, the 1,500 mark, which is considered an amazing performance on the day. That's 5 back-to-back wins almost, with 8 frags per match.
Yeah, that would be a pretty big change of pace, I would say, for Road to Victory. They've not had a great tournament, only sitting on 1,000 points in dead last place. Speaking of teams that have not had a great run, this is AL. We're just about out as well. And a little bit of fun from the Kiss. Number 1 grabbed themselves an explosion and a down onto Black with that RPG. Although the Kiss does get down. That was a bit sloppy.
Feta does make up for a throw and kills the player that downed him. So we only have Baby Borneo from AL left. And he's hiding at the moment. Is that everybody else from number 1 is around him?
Yeah. To give a little bit of extra perspective on AL performing low to expectations and just low in general, they're the second to last place team currently. And we don't really have a whole lot of hopes for this team to really make it much further past that. They're just playing for pride at this point, seeing what they can do. Number 1, though, a team that has things to prove, still has a chance to make it forward, looking to pick up as many points as they can. Can't afford to make too many mistakes, though, and lose a player to some of the weaker teams.
They're still hunting for Baby Borneo. They're really taking their time, number 1. I think they spotted him out as everyone is now pre-firing as they move corners. Grenades are being chucked out. Baby Borneo's just hiding. Just look at bounce around. Baby Borneo is behind the staircase, using the third-person perspective to see if anyone comes this way.
They're all dancing around.
Number 1's just like, how the heck do we find this idiot?
Start chucking grenades.
It's a really cute hiding spot from Baby Borneo. I've got to give him credit for that. It's even just jumping up to try and see if he's on top of buildings. They know he has to be in there. They heard him earlier. And he's just hiding behind the staircase.
Yeah, I mean, there's
number
no
one
risk.
Number 1 to get a bail, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say there's not a whole lot of risk in sticking around for a little while since nobody else is here. But if they can't find them, then successful hide-and-go-seek round.
Theoretically, they've been in this fight against AL for, 12 minutes now in the exact same area. The zone's closing in as well. They're currently outside the zone, so they're taking damage. They kind of want to loot and go, don't you think? Especially if number 1 is a team that plays around placements.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. They definitely have more to lose at this point than the 10 points they'd pick up for the frag.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to think. Is that are the 10 points worth it for number 1 at the moment, or are they just wasting time at this point?
But that's what you have to always keep in mind, right? Is it worth it trying to get that extra frag, or do you really need to be 100% certain that your placement isn't going to get screwed up? All right, we're going to move our attention here. Looks like Ezio Gaming are waiting on the edge of that ridge. Wolf is going to find them here. Wolf from Dark Frost. Another team that is, for all intents and purposes, eliminated. This is the third to last place team.
Yeah, they too would have to have some miracle performance to qualify, sitting at 1,600 points, currently 15th place team Gal team.
1,605.
And currently the 15th place Gal team is at 2,905, so it's even that is already impossible.
It'd be roughly, like a 1,300 point spread. So about they'd have to perform at the best that any team ever has. But they're going to keep on trying nonetheless. You don't want to roll over and die. Don't give up. Every single game will count. Over here near Spawn Island, Ezio is actually hanging out. Now, this is a team that is very close, sitting at 20 points. In 13th place currently is Ezio Gaming. They are one of the tied teams that is towards the top of their own group, but, well, in the middle of their own group, I should say. But very close, as number 1 is the team right above them. Separated by about 15, too. Looks like Rids opens some fire. Finds Skyzak. Takes a 1 shot in return. He gets the down, though.
You got to be very careful when you're playing on these cliff faces. You never know when you would slide back. It's very difficult to find angles, whether you're on the top side of the cliff or on the bottom side of the cliff.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily confer as much of an advantage. I think people on the bottom side maybe slightly more because they have to do this peak to make it happen. But Ezio are caught. They're trapped right now in Samoy.
It's a bit easier for Dark Frost to take these shots, but Ezio are slowly knocking players down, and AROV have caught them out.
All right, AROV come in, look to clean things up. Ezio are going to get a bit of breathing space, but you have to think they're a little disappointed they couldn't get the kills themselves.
You have to be a little bit disappointed with Dark Frost's gun skills there, though, because they have the high ground, they have the better position, but they weren't able to pick up the frags against Ezio, who were shooting at them from downhill. This was before they got sandwiched by AROV. A very poor skirmish being taken by Dark Frost, didn't cover their backs, didn't take any chances against Ezio, and just losing 2 players right away. Ezio lose 1. Still in this, though. Law Pro and the rest of AROV is hovering around the top of this hill now, looking to see if they can now contest against Ezio.
Yeah, it's dangerous for Ezio. Kind of stuck between this hill, and the only other option, the only other place to go is Spawn Island, and half of it is outside the zone of play. So right now, Iron Pro's got his sights trained. And Mayor Yes doing the same thing. Whoop, doesn't take the shot. Trying to bait around that loot.
Could be trying to hold position as well, just trying to make sure that they're not giving away their position to AROV, who were only there for Dark Frost, but now he's opening fire.
Oh, found Boyka. That's the down. So Ezio Gaming, they're starting to do something here. Having a couple of fights off screen, too. It looks like Nara actually getting involved with Just Team. And they're getting themselves some points, but they're going to have to march a long way to go. We'll talk about Nara a little more later. Is Ezio still in this fight?
Ooh, RPGs.
Well, that changes things a bit.
The RPGs come out, and Ezio just like, no. It's the grenade launcher that AROV currently have to work with. Found that from a crate earlier. As soon as Ezio hear the gunfire that comes out from the grenade launcher, they back away almost immediately. They're inside the next zone here, so Ezio,
yeah,
they're an okay spot.
They certainly can. It's just hard to actually find a place to go from here. That's the difficulty, unless they want to take a swim. But yeah, I want to talk a little bit about Nara, because this is a team that is sitting quite off the mark right now. We saw them really start to strive yesterday to pick up additional points, and they landed themselves in 21st place. So they're still about 700 or 800 points away from actually getting into that 15th place spot. But they did just pick up 4 frags.
Their biggest enemy today is not Gal Team, who, 700 points will put them over Gal Team. Their biggest enemy today is going to be Fate. They need to score better than Fate does, which means they have to get over more points than Fate today, and they have to almost double the points that any other team gets inside the competition.
Yeah, we might start to see teams opting to try and hunt a little bit if they can. For some of these teams, they got to get over, but obviously it's difficult because you don't know where people are on the map, and launch them away, AROV. Boy's going to find a little bit of damage, Small Boy. That
was the final player from Fate as well, so their first map opening up with not too many frags, not too many kills, and not a good positional finish.
That's good for Nara. They have to be pretty happy knowing that that's happened with the elimination. So we're down to 38 teams, by the way, or 38 players, by the way.
It's good for all the teams that are looking to qualify. The lower that Fate scores, the easier the chances that they have to qualify. Because remember that the next team after Gal Team that is locked in and their position will not move is currently Will Clubs at 3,350 points. So denying a team from getting that high up, any one of the teams that's in today's competition, either the 4 Thai teams that are not Fnatic, AROV, who are also currently in 11th spot, or any of the Indonesian or other Southeast Asian general teams, is a big move.
Yeah, there's effectively a handful of spots that are up for grabs, but yeah, that 15th place is the one that's more or less not going to move at all, because it is Gao Team, and then you also have Will Clubs, as you mentioned, that's up there. But if the Thai teams underperform, this is a spot for the Southeast Asia General or the Indonesian teams to move in and take it over, and this is what makes these next 5 rounds so important. And I think it's why we're seeing teams opt to skirmish a little bit sooner than we've seen in the past. It's 18.5 minutes. At this point yesterday, we still had 45, 46 players left in the game on average. AROV.
So even though it's slightly faster, 38 left alive, 18, 19 minutes, and still quite a decent amount of people going into the next circle. Only in play zone 4 as well.
It's true. Looks like AROV going to swap the trucks out.
Play zone 5 coming up next, which is where we're probably going to get more of the fights taking place. Play zone 6 is where the big skirmish Southeast Asia tends to gravitate towards happens. So they have that to look out for.
That they do. It looks like they're going to go riding towards team posted up here in the apartments. Small Boy. The rest of the team going to go into the bottom floor. Easy to breach this level since nobody's here.
Small Boy,
that's a door.
Heavy problem. Ooh, bloody door. He's got the grenade launcher. So the grenade launcher does less damage than the explosive crossbow, but can be rapid fired and has a really good projectile speed, so you can blow someone up at close range quite effectively.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's just pre-firing at the moment. Doesn't have the biggest of explosive radiuses, unlike the RPG, so he has to be pretty tactical with it.
Ooh.
Max gonna fall here. Number 1 just getting
rough.
even more kills.
Yeah, number one looking pretty solid right here in this opening round. Of course, they themselves were in the 10th place. Remember, it's not a safe position, but it is probably the safest unsafe position, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Right on the edge there. So I think if number one continue to play like this, they should be a shoo-in. Nara going to make moves just outside the play zone. Going to start running for it. But Nara have had a better performance already. That is encouraging for a team that needs a Hail Mary to make it into that top 15. I'm going to watch, I believe that's Pirate Team. Going to be cruising up towards the edge of it. And with this circle shrinking, not a lot of compounds actually available to defend here, since this is a more or less rural area.
Roger just got a knockdown. There he is. He's all the way over there.
Yeah, okay. So it's 3-1. An interesting caravan strat. Looks like they're just going to drive by and try to finish the job. The problem is the rest of this team that they're facing off against are fine. I believe it's hard to see. Oh, Road to Victory. Well, it looks like this is the road to victory right here for Pirate Team. Got to be careful. Jackie's actually taking a lot of damage while driving that car, but they do get the finishers, so this is big for Pirate Team. Remember, they're one of those teams in a very tenuous position, so picking up the frags counts.
Perfect frags being picked up there. They just mow down Road to Victory. And again, Road to Victory hugging that tree, they just had no reason to be where they were.
I just saw Nara ran straight into number one and got wiped. Oh well.
Losing Nara very early on. Into the final skirmishes. Number one getting all those kills. But again, Road to Victory shouldn't have been around those trees. And if they were, they should have done something about the vehicle that was mowing them down. All they tried to do was avoid the gunfire, which is not the best plan of defense or attack. They needed to find a way to deal with the vehicle effectively, and it's something that RTV unfortunately have not proven they are capable of doing throughout the group stages of the regional clash.
That's definitely one of the reasons why they are in the dead last position. Hey, look, Baby Borneo actually survived that that earlier play when he was hiding, and he's actually gone running back into the circle. So he's trying to get as many points for AL to really hang on to this one.
Yeah, hats off to AL. They're pretty much eliminated, but still giving it all they got.
Oh, as we say it.
And he gets taken down.
All right.
Fair play, though. They could have just not shown up today, and they still would have gotten the same, prize, same everything, but they're giving it a shot, which is what I like. And they're not giving up till the very end. That's good sportsmanship coming out from AL.
And that is what you got to see, too. Like, a team that's going to fight it out to the end. That's what you want out of the best that you can see in Southeast Asia. It looks like Mocker is going to get down inside this house. So Baby engaging in a firefight, 90 looking to come in, but he needs to finish off Iron Pro and Law Pro before he can actually do a whole lot here. Hops into the car. He might actually leave his teammate for dead.
Goodbye. 90's just bailing. The rest of Baby waiting on the hill saying, what the hell are you two doing inside that compound?
Yeah, that was not the best place. War of Elites compound. Winter takes a few pot shots from above. Before the car gets lit up too farther. Oh, Roger had a great scope on it, and he actually lights it on fire. And he's getting hijacked. We got a car battle in here. Baby just goes for him. We're down to 22 players just like that. Circle continues to shrink, and there are almost no compounds left inside for teams to play within. So we might get a few more car battles, and it's definitely been a little more hectic than SCA plays used to.
Next play zone as well is completely open. Not even the sense of, there's hills and rocks and terrain. No, the next play zone is actually in the open. It's over a road. So you're going to expect once this starts to shrink, everybody else is going to converge into that single area.
Yep. Chicken grenade out. Feta. See if he finds it on a Pirate Team. Oh! Doesn't quite get enough out of it.
Good
but
shot, the Da.
The Da is actually getting even more damage. Roger's going to grab the Da as well. We haven't talked about Fnatic in this round. They've been playing pretty well, lasting pretty long, but it looks like Pirate Team has got more to prove. Number one, going for the drive-by, and the RPG as they go. Talk about swag kills, but their car's going to get blown to high heavens.
And it's Fnatic that get the kill credit as well for blowing up the truck. That RPG kill was nice coming up from Pirate Team. Coming up from the squad, but not enough. Number one still roaming around here. Nemesis, lots of players with these sniper rifles.
Yeah, and this is what we talk about out in the open. There's so few places to hide. The hill's even barely there. Oh, got to dodge out that primed grenade. Keep moving, Nemesis, and he looks like he clears the area on Firecracker. Rayong from Pirate Team and the rest of his teammates slowly bleeding out here. So this should be some frags picked up from number 1, who will be very happy with the score that they've been able to amass this game so far. Nemesis careful that he doesn't get down, and he finds Jackie on the bunny hop. He only needed 1 tap to get him, and that should be a cleanup.
Jackie looking the complete wrong direction, pre-firing as well. Just gets gunned down by Nemesis. Next zone coming in now.
13 players. Fnatic going to have at least 1 member just outside the zone. Looks like we're in for a med strat. Jan Fluke gets taken out by Iron Pro. The small boys lived through all of this. He's been involved in a lot.
You've got
7 kills.
You've got 3 players from AROV still alive at the moment. Iron Pro's up here with the sniper rifle. Fnatic have a player outside the zone, but Vorik, he's been spotted by AROV, but no shots fired just yet. Now being taken down, that's going to be Fnatic ended. AROV wrecking this final circle. You see, Anup is down. Truck gets blown up as well. War of Elite go home. AROV controlling this final circle. They've got 3 members out of the 6 remaining.
Yeah, I think it's going to be AROV versus number 1, and that's pretty much it. Don't know how many members number 1 have.
I think it's AROV versus Medstrat at the moment. There's nobody else in this final circle. It's just them.
I think you're right. It should be at least 1 more member of number 1. We saw them get a kill earlier, so might be Medstratting at this point. But this is going to be great for AROV to try and cement their lead. This is the top team from Southeast Asia General. Yeah, it looks like everybody else is Medstratting. 3 teams. Was it Ezio that made their way over to Spawn Island? I bet that's what happened.
Not sure. We didn't get to see who it was, but we'll find out who the Medstratus are shortly. But AROV taking first place, controlling the zone, playing this one very well. They already are in the 11th place spot, but again, in today's games, if you took all the points of all the teams at the moment for today's match, they're ranked 3rd in this entire group in terms of points. They're just behind number 1 by 5 points. And then they were behind Fnatic by 600 or so. So, yeah, ECO Gaming were one of the players outside. Mashiro was the other one. ECO does fall to 3rd place. And we still yet to find out who the 2nd place player was. And it's Nara. Nara do have a player in this.
Oh, fantastic. Nara actually managed to hang on here, which is critical because it looked like they got wiped out. And getting a 2nd place finish is probably the best possible scenario for them. It would be a really far cry to see them actually finish in 1st, given the strength of the other teams they're facing up against. But to grab a 2nd place when you really desperately need a lot of points is huge. And Newts are going out in style, tossing a grenade and running right on top of it. So that will be the end of the round. Nara places 2nd, Ezio places 3rd, and of course in 1st is AROV, cementing that lead for themselves.
With 12 or 14 kills as well. I can't tell based on Small Boy's number. Can't tell if that's a 6 or an 8.
Yeah.
But Iron Pro playing well, Small Boy playing well, getting a 1st place finish at the end of everything.
And I believe it was Pirate Team, or is it Pirate King that made it into 4th place?
I just woke up in my underwear, no liquor left on the shelf. I should probably introduce myself. You should have seen what I wore. I had a cane and a party hat. I was the king of this hologram where there's no such thing as getting out of hand. Memories tend to just pop up. Drunk pre-meds and some rubber gloves. 5,000 people with designer drugs. Don't think I'll ever get enough. Champagne, cocaine.